Wonderful. Well, good evening, everybody. This is Tom Jones dialing in from my home office in New Jersey. Excited to have you all here with us for another Hope Call with TeamViHOPE. For those of you who are new to this call, this is a project, a community that we have developed within ViSalus Sciences with the Project 10 Challenge and the Body by Body Challenge. And it's a community specifically led by people who have lost over 100 pounds on the Body by Body Challenge, and dedicated to people who have larger weight loss goals, which we sort of marked informally as 50 pounds or above. And we have a whole Facebook community behind it, and we do these calls on a weekly basis to share inspiration, hope, insights, tips, guidance to help you all move forward in your own weight loss and body transformation efforts. And now my story, I got started with Vi about 5.5 years ago, and I wish I could say that it was a simple process of I got on a challenge and started drinking 2 shakes a day, and 9 months later I woke up and was 100 pounds lighter. Unfortunately, there was a little bit more involved in that, but fortunately, every step I took back enabled me to learn something about myself and what works for me in order, really, to create a long-term, lasting, sustainable transformation. And so now I've lost over 100 pounds on the challenge. I am, by pretty much any way you could measure it, in the best shape of my life. I feel terrific inside and out, and I'm excited to share this incredible platform and the possibilities with ViSalus with people on a day-to-day basis. And so I have with me some people on the call this evening who have similarly just terrific stories and experiences that I can't wait to introduce to you. So our first guest is actually a brand new 100-pound club member who has just a world of knowledge about body fat loss and muscle development, and I'm really excited to hear what she has to share about her transformation, or, she and I were talking a while back, she may even describe it as multiple transformations. This is someone who, in addition to losing over 100 pounds, has been active in bodybuilding competitions and was a couples fitness champion with ViSalus. So it gives me great pleasure to bring onto the line Ms. Jennifer Smith. Jennifer, are you out there?
I'm here. Can you hear me okay?
I sure can. Take it away. Tell us your story.
Awesome. Thank you. I'm excited to be on the call, and thank you so much for everybody listening. I guess a little bit about myself. I started my own weight loss journey eons ago, it feels like, about 4 years ago with Vi. I've lost over 100 pounds. I'm excited now, and I finally hit the 100-pound club. So I went from 210 pounds down to 110 pounds, but that does not count for the countless amount of muscle that I've built, which is projected to probably about 25 to 30 pounds of muscle that I've built over that time. So I'm really, really excited. Like Pat mentioned, my transformation has been essentially like a roller coaster. You know what I mean? It's like everybody's life. Everybody's life is a roller coaster, and I would be very, very good, and I would lose 50 pounds. Life would smack you in the face, and next thing you know, I gained 30 back, and then I had to do it all over again. I say I'm a professional loser. I'm really good at learning how to lose weight and to refigure out my body and to teach my body new ways of losing weight because, as you'll probably learn in this call, our bodies themselves will become very, very stagnant very quickly, become very adaptive very quickly. So, you're always kind of trying to learn new ways to figure out your body, what works, what doesn't. And because of that, I've lost tons and tons of weight. Every year I do competing now, and so essentially I'll get down to my leanest, and then after the show I go back into a build phase, which I'm required then by my coach to gain another 10 to 15 pounds back on, so I can actually not be in a caloric deficiency and, start building more muscle up again. So, my constant up and down, but it's a healthy up and down, and it's not like I'm binging over here or anything like that. It's something that's very, very healthy for your body. But myself, I'm constantly trying to find the next new goal. I went into my own weight loss journey just wanting to run a race, to run my first 5K. I wanted to run the whole thing without walking. And that was legitimately my first goal of wanting to lose weight. I wanted to put a goal out there that it was something tangible, it was something I could achieve. Weight loss is so fluctuating because sometimes you might not lose the weight, but you lose the inches. And so you get discouraged when you don't see the weight, the number on the scale go down. So picking a goal that was tangible, that I could actually reach and touch and had more control was something that I wanted to make sure I had in mind. So with that, I decided to run my first race. I ran it. I will say when I first stepped on that treadmill that first time, it took me 39 minutes to go a mile and a half. And if you think about it, most people can walk a mile in 15 minutes. So it's kind of sad to think about it. But I did that first race, and I did it in 36 minutes, which was a 5K, so 3.1 miles. And from there, I learned to have a love of running, which, I started doing that, and eventually my knees can't take it anymore. So I needed a new goal, and that's where I found competing. And it's something that pushes you against you. You never know who's going to be best on stage, so you can only ever try to be the best version of you. So, I've always tried to not only reach my weight loss goal, but now I'm constantly trying to build new muscle naturally. And some people may have seen a picture going around recently on Facebook and social media. Vi is the only protein I use. And so I've been able to show that you can not only just use ViCellus protein powder as a meal replacement to help you lose weight, but to also gain lean muscle as well. So it really is something that is for everyone. So I hate it when people are like, oh, you can't build muscle with that stuff. It's not enough protein. And I'm like, here's the picture, because it proves that you can do it. And it's whatever you put your mind to. It's just hard work and having the proper nutrition. So, I'm really excited, and I hope to encourage everybody else out there that, don't ever limit yourself to your goals, because I essentially started out just wanting to run a race. And now I look at myself, and I'm on stage, and I'm the best physique I've ever seen myself, and I can only be happy with where I've been and where I'm going. So I'm excited. But thank you.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here with us. And if I could just ask you one additional question, Jennifer, and I hope this doesn't put you on the spot too much, but just as you were talking, I started thinking, and I know how easy it is, even for me at this point, as someone who has already lost 100 pounds, to look at some of the contest pictures of you, and it's just, I think, to some people on just a whole different level. And so I'm wondering if you could share with us what you would consider, if you think back to the early days, like when you first started your efforts to improve your health and transform your body, what would you say are one or two of the biggest obstacles that you had to overcome?
Myself being a mom of three, and my kids were very young when I decided enough was enough. The biggest thing for me was just time management, but also the mindset of being a mother. Being a mother and a wife, you always put somebody else before you. And for me, the biggest hurdle I had to overcome, not only for myself, but for my family too as well, was that I needed to put myself first. Because nobody's going to take care of me except for me. I was so busy taking care of everybody else that I needed to actually sit back and say, this is my time. And it's not something you should feel guilty for doing it, because everybody needs it. You do it for other people, and you need to do it for yourself. On top of that, just figuring out the time when to work out. The beginning portion of my journey seriously started in the basement of my house. I didn't have any money to join a gym. I had 3 kids. They were so young. So as soon as I put those kids down to bed every night around 9:30, I would run down to my basement and I would start doing some home workouts, or that I kind of bummed off of Craigslist. Or I finally was able to save up enough money to get a treadmill because it was getting cold. So I started just running at home. But before that, I literally just ran outside. And yes, it was midnight that I would be running. I was the crazy chick running outside. But, I couldn't even run, like I said. So I would run legitimately from one mailbox to the next and then take a break. And then I would run the next mailbox length. And I started out with little goals like that. So the biggest thing for me, like any mother and wife, is just making sure that you put time in for yourself, because you count, but also finding the time. And you have to make the time. And it's nothing that's ever going to just appear. It's like money. You never have enough. And you never have enough time as well. But you have to make the time. And to this day, you could see like the thread for the time, the TeamViHOPE, the thread that we had. I don't answer emails or messages in the hours of 6 to 8. So that's my time to work out in the gym, everything else. And those are my like office hours. So, you know, I now revolve my day around that time versus trying to build that time into my day, if you know what I mean.
Right, absolutely. Awesome. Well, terrific advice. And once again, welcome to the 100 Pound Club.
Thank you. Now I just got to get online and submit the results.
All right, I want to swing the call over now to our host for the evening, who has an incredible story as well as some a variety of tips on how to bust through weight loss plateaus, and that is none other than active fitness champion, 100 Pound Club member from Windsor, Ontario, Pat Ryan. Pat, are you with us?
I am here, Tom. How are you?
Fantastic. And you?
I'm absolutely amazing right now.
Great. Well, take it away.
Awesome. TeamViHOPE, welcome. Hey, man, it's been a while since I've been on a call. I am so excited to be back. As Tom said, it's Pat Ryan. I'm from Canada. And my story started over 4 years ago with Vi. It was in August of 2011. I was 430 pounds. I'd just gotten back from the doctor. He told me my blood pressure was 170/90 and that I was a walking heart attack. And if I didn't do something about it, I was going to die. And I was sitting in the office with my 1.5-year-old at the time, and I looked at him and I thought, well, you know, that's probably not a good thing to die because this little guy is going to need me as well as the 2 older kids I had at the time. So I had this skinny guy that bugged me about this shake that tastes like cake for 9 months. And I told him no. Many ways, very creative, none of them really nice. But I decided after being warned by my doctor, I better try a shake. What have I got to lose besides the weight? So I called the guy, grabbed some shakes. 3 weeks, I lost 15 pounds. In my first 90 days, I lost 56 pounds. I didn't exercise. I didn't change much. All I did was drink 2 shakes a day, replacing 2 not good for me meals. And I was hooked, 56 pounds in 90 days. So fast forward to now, because I'm going to jump all the way to the end because I've got some pretty cool tips for you. I've lost 150 pounds in countless challenges. I became an active fitness champ, as Tom said, in 2013. Not only have I lost over 150 pounds, I've kept the majority of it off for over 3 years. And I've done that because I like to lead by example. I've become an actor again. I'll be featured on a new TV show, going to be on Identification Discovery in the new year. Once I have details, I'll put it up on TeamViHOPE. And my entire life has changed. I just got back from an audition for another TV show in Toronto, all because I finally decided after 9 months to say yes to a shake. Now, in those 4 years, it wasn't as easy as that story just went from 56 pounds to 150 pounds. There were a ton of plateaus. There were a ton of points where I decided that I was going to quit. And I just kept going because of the amazing support of this community. So when you find yourself on a plateau, when the scale isn't moving, when you just feel like you're stuck, what you got to do is you got to ask yourself 5 questions. Now, these 5 questions are really easy. So grab your pen and paper, write them down, and listen to what I'm saying because this is super important for you to break plateaus. Number 1, what are you eating? What you need to do is you need to keep a food journal. Write down for 3 weekdays and the weekend everything you eat following these guidelines. Everything you eat and drink, write it down. Note what you're doing while you're eating. So if you're driving, if you're watching TV, if you're sitting at a computer, surfing Facebook, write it down what you're doing. And when you write it down, describe how you felt while you ate. Was it an emotional eating? Was it because you just had an argument with your spouse? Was it because you're sad because something happened, maybe your sports team lost or something? Were you happy and you were at an event and, you know, there was birthday cake and you decided to eat it because you were celebrating? Were you nervous? Were you starving? Or were you just bored sitting in front of the TV and snacking? Write it all down, write the emotions down. Now, the biggest point is being honest. Now, this isn't a newsletter. You're not sharing it with the world. It's a journal. So write down honestly your feelings and everything. And at the end of each day, examine how your emotions affected your eating. because I know myself that I, more times than not, still catch myself grabbing something not good for me because I've had a quote-unquote traumatic experience, and the food was there to soothe me. So write it down. That's one of the first ways to break your plateau. Number 2, how are you moving? Are you repeating the same exercises over and over? So if you've been at the gym for 6 months, are you doing the same stuff? Now, what I advise, what I've found over the years, and what professional trainers advise, is that you need to switch your exercise routine every few weeks, especially if you're hitting a plateau. Change it up, because your body and your muscles are going to get bored. Your body is really adaptive, and it only takes a few weeks for it to become accustomed to that routine. So it doesn't have to be out of your comfort zone. So if you're always running, how about you try adding in some high-intensity intervals? So instead of just running on the treadmill or just walking, try something different. Try some speed walking if you're walking, and throw it in and do it in intervals. And one of the other tips, big time, when you're moving, when you're exercising, is to lift weights. Strength training is the key, and it's going to help you build up strong, dense muscle mass that's going to give your base metabolism a boost and burn calories throughout the day. Would you like to burn calories when you sleep? Everybody on this call, what you need to do is pick up some weights and get an I Built It shirt. 10 pounds of muscle is going to help you burn calories much more efficient than 10 pounds of fat will. Number 3, are you getting enough sleep? I know myself, working late nights, driving all over the place for auditions and stuff, I don't get enough rest. Rest and recovery is one of the 3 pillars of weight loss: nutrition, exercise, rest, and recovery. So unless you're superhuman and you rely on small amounts of sleep, you got to listen to your body. If you're overtired, it can lead to mindless eating, unnecessary stress, and can really screw with your metabolism and your hormones. Tired eating, who doesn't do it? I'm up late at night wondering because I should be sleeping. I'm in the cupboards looking, eating peanut butter by the spoonful. Aim to get your sleep for the next 2 weeks. This is a tip. Next 2 weeks, you want to change a habit? Start by this. Set a regular bedtime or increase your sleep time by a few minutes. Once your body's no longer out of whack, your extra weight might disappear into the night. If you're not getting enough rest, you're going to keep those pounds on. Number 4, are you tracking honestly? As I said earlier, are you being honest with yourself? Nobody else is reading this but you. Now, if you underestimate calories and you overestimate your exercise, it's really going to play some mind games with you. Plateaus can come from inaccuracies in reporting. So if you skip logging some drinks, if you drank some fruit juice and you got more calories in, if you're underestimating the serving size, or if you're forgetting to put in a handful of snacks you had, you're going to be at a plateau. We know that we're dedicated to our challenge for 90 days because we want to have the best results we can. But human error and denial is what can be one of the biggest causes of plateaus. Now, as I said earlier, log it all, but don't be hard on yourself. Honesty and awareness are your friends in your weight loss. If you're honest and if you're aware, you're going to realize what you're doing to sabotage yourself or to achieve your goals. Now, number 5 is one of the biggest ones, and this is what TeamViHOPE is all about. Do you feel supported and motivated? Weight loss doesn't have to be lonely. With Vi, we've got many amazing ways to motivate you. Challenge groups. I don't know if you've heard of them or not, but challenge groups are in your area, and if there's not, create one. What they are is a group of people of the same mindset getting together to exercise 1 day a week, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days a week, whether it be mall walking, whether it be walking on a track, running, biking, lifting weights, doing boot camps, whatever it is. Challenge groups are there, and it is an amazing way to help you lose weight. Experts say that your results are going to be about 66% better if you take the challenge with 3 others. So if you can't find a challenge group, why don't you challenge 3 friends? Get them to take the challenge with you. You know what the benefits of that are besides 66% better results? Free challenge kits. We have a 3 for free program, and if you take advantage of it, get your friends involved, get your challenge kits for free and lose weight for free. Well, my wife and I have had our challenge kits for free for over 4 years. We've only paid once. Over $25,000 in free products and over 225 pounds combined loss. So if that's not telling you something, I don't know what is. Now, we also have some online support groups. Now, TeamViHOPE, I've heard some rumors that in the new year, we're going to be doing some monthly challenge groups, whether it be nutrition-based or exercise-based. We've been doing some in the background with the 100-Pound Club, and we've been having some pretty cool results. Some people have been sticking, some people haven't, like myself, because I let life take over. But it is absolutely amazing, so keep your eyes peeled for those coming in the new year. Now, not only can you be in one of those groups, but asking questions in TeamViHOPE is absolutely amazing, or in Because of Isalis as well. It's going to be answered with an overwhelmingly supportive response from people just like you. The largest collection of 100-Pound Club members and almost 1,500 members in TeamViHOPE. So you're going to have stories of all types that one might relate to you and be able to help you break these plateaus. Now, there are also, when we do the challenges, we do, like as I said, the nutrition challenges and the exercise challenges. Nutrition challenges are great, like keep a food journal. It's like cutting out sugar, Faith is cutting out wheat and dairy, I think, right now. When I became champion, I cut out wheat, dairy, sugar, and alcohol. Craziest 90 days of my life. I'm surprised everybody's alive around me, but they survived, and so did I, because I had a goal. Now, Tom, I know that you have an interesting way to break plateaus that isn't in these 5. And you are a guy that deals with fasting, and it's something I've never tried. I want a couple of minutes of input on you on fasting.
Sure. Well, there is from what I've read, I'm a bit of a science nerd. There's this growing body of literature supporting the idea of fasting for a variety of health benefits, and I've found that a few things work really well for me, and different things work. Everyone's body is different, and some of us are more responsive to certain protocols than others. I find that anytime I have a cheat day, let's say, whether it was intentional or not, that I first off, through a little practice, I've cultivated the ability to be able to fast the entire next day. And that could be what is referred to as a protein-sparing modified fast, in which case I will have 2 Vi shakes with water, possibly 3, and so my calories are under 500 for the entire day, but I'm getting some protein in. And then I will eat the next day, whenever I'm ready to have breakfast. So then I end up fasting for, 30, 36 hours, and I find that gets me back into a groove quite quickly. The first time I tried that, it was difficult, and by about 6 p.m. on that first fasting day, I was very, very ready to give up. But I got to about 8, and then I was more ready to go to sleep. I made it through, and then I had breakfast the next day, and it was all good. And I found that it's been easier and easier ever since. So I've done that. I have found that I've gotten through plateaus by adjusting my eating window, meaning rather than eating 5 or 6 meals a day, I'll condense my eating into a window of 8 hours and fast for 16. Other times I'll only condense it to 10 and fast for 14. I've even played around with shrinking it down into 4 and fasting for the other 20. So I'm eating just as much as I would have had I spaced it out over the course of the day, but I'm just doing it in a shorter frame of time. One of the pluses to that is that I don't need to think about food, or I don't need to think about what I'm actually going to eat for those other hours. And when I am eating, I have larger meals. So I found that changing it up those ways has helped me. There's a few others. Sometimes I played around, I'd say, with less success with alternate day fasting, where in one day I'll basically eat whatever I want, and then the next day nothing at all, and go back and forth. That doesn't, at least in my experience thus far, hasn't gotten me past a plateau. So I haven't really used that consistently. But the others I've used quite consistently and with consistently positive results. And with that, back over to you, Pat.
Awesome tips. Thank you, Tom. Jennifer, I didn't tell you what your question was going to be, but you are the perfect person for this question, and it's going to lead into how I'm going to finish. Plateaus are sometimes just in your mind, because what we don't understand about plateaus are we losing weight or are we losing fat? Because sometimes as we're losing fat, we're building muscle. So, Jennifer, what I want to ask you is, how can somebody tell the difference? Now, first of all, they got to define which path they're on, but how are they going to tell the difference? Because if the scale isn't budging and they're building muscle, that's going to play with their mind. So what kind of tips can you give somebody to figure that out?
You know, the biggest thing is making sure you track your own results because, you know, like you said, the scale is not going to be your only determiner of, you know, your progress. And so I constantly am tracking my own measurements every 30 days. If I'm strictly on my challenge and I have a goal that I'm after, I take my measurements from head to toe, you know, even my neck size, so I can even figure out my body fat percentage. So that's a big thing because even though the scale might not change, our clothes will fit better. You know, a pound of fat takes up a lot more space than a pound of muscle. So even though you might not be losing the pounds, you might not be losing the number of the scale, you might actually be building some more lean muscle, which is going to take up less space, and you're going to feel much better in your clothing, and it's going to feel looser. So that's a big thing is make sure you're not only just looking at one thing, but, you know, have a better grasp of other things, other determinants that you can actually track as well that are more tangible too as well.
So what you're telling us is body composition is much more important than what your weight is on the scale. That's a silly number that you stand on.
Exactly, because, you know, I've weighed both 140 pounds as a size 10 and 140 pounds as a size 2. And my body is completely different composition at either weight at that point in different sizes. So, you know, a weight is just a number on a scale. And sometimes it takes a lot for us to get through that and get past that. But, you know, really, it's really going to be how you feel in your clothes and how your body is wrapping up into this package that you're trying to build and what you're trying to lose.
So on your journey, I would imagine that you probably dealt with your self-image a little bit because if you're 140 pounds on a size 10 and 140 pounds on a size 2, normally that's going to play games with your head because 140 pounds is 140 pounds. So what did you do to change your mindset?
You know, and I was discussing with somebody else the other day, you know, I don't know if it really ever goes away. And, you know, they might be throwing you for a loop here. There is some times that I still look in the mirror and I still see the fat girl that, you know, I once was. And I have to tell myself, you know, I'm not that person anymore. And the scale is not there to determine how I feel nor how I look. You know, I constantly am taking before and after pictures, progress photos. Everyone's like, oh, stop with the selfies or whatever. You know, those selfies are what I can look back on to see, you know, what are the changes that I'm seeing month to month versus day to day because we're constantly scrutinizing ourselves. And so it really is a mindset. And it's something that's not going to go away overnight. It's going to take time. But I know that I look damn good in the size I am now, the weight I am now versus the 140 pounds I was 2 years ago when I first hit that goal.
Yeah, you do. You look fantastic, and you've strutted your stuff across stages and proved it many, many times. Jennifer, thank you so much. Tom, thank you so much. What you guys just heard were just two incredible stories, and mine, of the VI community. Over 3 million transformations have been created through this amazing company. Now, one of the things that I have found in the last 4 years that we've been missing and I've been working on is mindset. Because, as Jennifer said, sometimes you look in the mirror and you still see the fat girl or the fat guy. I know when I was the fat guy, I looked in the mirror and saw the in-shape guy because I was trying to convince myself that I was okay, and I just kept getting bigger and bigger. And now there are days when I look in the mirror, especially since I've been injured since May. I have not been in a gym since the end of May. I haven't been on my bike in over 6 weeks. So I started slipping into some bad habits. I started comforting myself with some food, and I'd stopped on my personal development. I stopped on building my mindset. I started giving in to my fears, and I started giving in to my program beliefs that it was okay to eat this. And a couple of weeks ago, I found something called Psycho-Cybernetics and Dr. Maxwell Maltz. It was written in the 1950s, and every piece of personal development that is out there today is based on the principles of changing your self-image. Now, what I'm saying right now is when you're in a plateau, it's because your self-image usually sucks. Let's be quite honest with each other. If you don't like yourself, if you are not positive, if you are saying negative things about yourself every day, you're going to talk yourself into a plateau. Do you want to know how you get yourself out of a plateau? Talk yourself out of it. Take track of your foods, take track of your exercise, surround yourself with the right people, and change your mindset. When you start to think negatively, instead of a negative thought, immediately cancel it with a thought of positivity, of something that is good about you, that you've already lost 50 pounds. Heck, that is fantastic. You have to be absolutely amazing and dedicated to lose 50 pounds. You got to be amazing and dedicated to lose 10 pounds. So every time you have these negative thoughts, what you need to do is you need to change your mindset, and you need to start programming yourself to change your self-image. Because the majority of us got here because we didn't like ourselves, because we looked in the mirror and we hated what we saw, because we were the one behind the camera, not in front of the camera. So my story started 20 years ago when I started in shape as a college football player and then turned into a pro wrestler and an actor, and then I just let go. And 20 years I gained weight and my life sucked. And at 39, when I found the challenge, I decided to change my life. And as I did it, I changed my mindset slowly, and I didn't realize until a couple of weeks ago how important it was. In those 4 years with the challenge, not only have I lost 150 pounds, but as I said, I'm an actor again. I get in the professional wrestling ring only once a year, and I will more if I want to. If I convince myself that I can do it, because I believe in myself. So let me tell you right now, self-image and changing your mindset and believing in yourself is so important to breaking the plateau. All those other things are a great way to track it. But if you don't change your mind, you're not going to change your plateau. Jennifer made the best point. It's about body composition. So if you're building muscle, if you're strength training as you're losing weight, and you look at that stupid scale, it's going to play with your mind. My advice, throw the scale away for 30 days at a time. Step on it once every 30 days. Do your measurements once every 30 days. Track everything you do. Give your challenge your all. Commit for 90 days starting January 2nd with our resolution rally. Get your sheet out there, put it online, and we'll be putting on mine soon. I'm going to commit to my 90-day goals, and I'm going to have a consequence. I'm not going to reward myself. Well, I'm going to reward myself or a consequence. So, guys, if you were invited onto this call and you just sat and listened to a couple amazing stories and a guy at the end ramble on and talk about mindset, and you want to know what's going on, connect with the person that invited you to this call and get them to show you the quick 4-minute video and get a shake in your hands and try it out because it tastes like cake. And if you guys are on this call and you're part of the challenge and part of TeamViHOPE, I thank each and every one of you from the bottom of my heart for being on this call, for being part of this community, and paying it forward, because we owe it to the world to pay it forward. We've changed our lives, we've changed our minds, and we need to share this with everybody. That is what TeamViHOPE and these calls are all about, paying it forward from the 100-pound club member, from the 100-pound club, sorry. Guys, with that, this call is officially wrapped. I'm Pat Ryan. Have a great night.